Hi, everyone. So, I'd like to talk about a time in my life when I wasn't any of these things. I was just depressed. And I was so depressed because my daughter had been diagnosed with a serious illness when she was born, and she died when she was 11 after I'd looked after her for 11 years, that I couldn't work. And so I wanted something to do which didn't necessarily have much chance of success, but which would give me something to do which made me able to work and look after my other two children. I remembered, and my mother kept reminding me about my grandmother who took part in the freedom struggle and was jailed when her mother was jailed. These are um, some campaigns that they took up in those days. In the center is my grandmother, and on her two sides are her two cousins. This is 1930. And so I remembered that there were all these people in my family who had been so inspirational, but I really didn't think that I could be one of them. I just wanted something to do. So I volunteered with my uncle, who was troubled by a marriage hall near his house and couldn't sleep. And he said, he was quite old at the time, and he said, let's file public interest litigation against noise pollution. And I said, well, whatever. And he said, for the litigation, which you need to sign, he introduced me to the first lawyer I had ever met. Of course, under his guidance, under the lawyer's guidance, we filed the litigation. And in 2003, got the first important court order against noise pollution anywhere. It was banning loudspeakers in silent zones. And of course, I had worked on the petition, I had signed it, I knew about it, but my heart really wasn't in it. My uncle said after we got the order, or rather, my lawyer said, that you met a journalist outside the court. What are you going to do to implement the order that you have got? And I said, well, I don't know. What am I going to do? And he said, well, you've wasted all our time because we worked pro bono for you. And if this order is not implemented, we really could have been doing something else. So call that journalist, give her your number, and invite complaints. And I said, my number, which number? And he said, well, of course, your mobile number. And I said, really? And he said, it was just before Navratri. And he said, how will you know whether the order is of any use unless you check? So I gave my number to this journalist who published it on the front page of the Times of India and said, this is the new hotline for noise. Please make complaints. And the 10 days of Navratri, my phone did not stop ringing. But I got calls from across the city, which I had never imagined. I got calls from people who were weeping on the phone saying, we know you can't do anything to help, but at least you're listening to us. You're not telling us that it's us who's crazy because we can't bear noise. We are very sensitive. It's me who's very sensitive. But it can't be that every single person who calls, and there are hundreds of them, and by now there are tens of thousands of them because I still get calls every week, that every single person just happens to be ultra sensitive while everybody else is not. And Indians are immune to noise. This is what I was told. So here it is. This is what happens when I approached the cops um, with the court order and said, here's what you can do. This is a few years later. And they said, well, we have a lot of work to be done, but really citizens should be self-disciplined because if they're worried about it, then they should take action. Why are you troubling us? So this is the kind of level at which I started. As I said, I didn't expect much success. Nobody else expected any success from me. And really, that was fine because it was just something to do. And I was happy to hear people's stories and feel that I'm contributing in some way. I also feel that when you contribute in this way without any kind of real expectation, that other people feel your sincerity in somehow and they decide to join you and help you. And that's what happened. And more and more of these people who started to call me started to offer help of various kinds. So, in all the years that followed, every one of my actions in an unfunded, completely unfunded NGO as a policy, which we are, has been done voluntarily by citizens who've been troubled by noise or by anything else that I've worked on, and I've been able to guide them. Here's the situation at the time. Mumbai was the noisiest city in India, and everyone knows India is the noisiest, one of, or at least one of the noisiest countries in the world, as has been documented by the World Health Organization. There was very little awareness, but so again, it was something impossible, and really, it was just a matter of keeping on. Based on all these phone calls that I got, although I started work on festival noise, I realized that people were really troubled by noise from um, traffic. 24/7. Festival noise is the noisiest because it has the highest decibel levels, but traffic noise uh, is the longest period of time because traffic noise goes on day and night. Foreign car manufacturers, German car manufacturers sell specially loud horns for India because for India, where everyone's honking, everybody's horn, the selling point is that the horn has to be louder than the last one. And if that selling point doesn't exist and there's no upper limit in the Motor Vehicles Act, it has only a lower limit, which is already higher than what the zone wise limit was, the silent zones in particular, which I had fought to have implemented. So I started measuring this, that's a BEST bus, and sometimes it got a bit much because there was hardly any success. Although more and more people started complaining, and the police set up systems, the Supreme Court passed orders, the High Court passed numerous other orders, and people started complaining about traffic noise as well to the police, and the police set up their systems to take on certain kinds of noise, like, for example, festivals and loudspeakers not being allowed to continue before 10, after 10 o'clock. So these kind of things did happen, but traffic noise, again, it's like, well, that's such a huge issue. You're reaching out to individuals, they're not even organized. How are you going to handle that? But you keep on doing it, and then sometimes you have reversals. So you think that, well, now I've started working on noise pollution, and at least there are some successes along the way. I've got the Supreme Court order now, the police has set up its systems now. So yeah, I'm actually doing well. I'm no longer depressed. I'm all right. My family is fine. But then 15 years later, when you find that you're struggling with something and you're meeting a vested interest, which in this case was the commercial and other interests in organizing festivals, that in one shot, suddenly, by a simple notification at the central government level, all silent zones in the whole country were abolished. And of course, I had this problem of feeling very responsible for that because I kept thinking it's because I pushed too hard. It's if I had given up certain aspects of this, if I had not insisted on this or that or the other, maybe this wouldn't have happened. So really, I've worked this hard, but it's been my fault that the whole thing collapsed. So again, you come to a point where you really wonder whether what you're doing is the right thing. You're not making any money out of it. You're not gaining anything particular. You have no roadmap. You don't know where you're going, and it all collapses. Still, I think the government had its, because when you talk of educating people about something which is previously unknown, you're educating people in general, but you're also educating authorities who are supposed to take action. So this is the transport secretary and the police, uh, the traffic commissioner of Mumbai, who then decided to join me and to declare the year 2018 as a no noise pollution year. And in fact, they then took it even further. They put up in Mantralaya all kinds of um, uh, posters and messages about no honking. They put up, they partnered with various agencies, and this is what we did, a campaign called Horn Vrat, which they partnered with me. Sorry. So the Horn Vrat, where everyone promised not to honk, all the government drivers promised. We put, this is a rickshaw which you can see at the back. It had all these horns on it which didn't work. I mean, if you press them, they didn't work. We encouraged people to take selfies. This is one of the first selfies that was taken there. Transport Commissioner, Police Commissioner, RTO Commissioner, and me, and various rickshaw drivers, unions, which we teamed up with as well. So it pays not to give up, right? Sometimes it works, but not in the way you expected because silent zones still don't exist. Then we took up honking because I realized from the calls that we got that honking really was a huge issue, which uh, I mean, my driver hasn't honked for 15 years and he's been fine. We are not slower than anyone else, but other people don't realize that you can drive without honking. So we did this at the Road Safety Week of Mumbai, again with the police. It's organized by the government and the police, and said, well, this is great. The police partnered with us in all these various different drives, awareness drives, but the primary role of the police is enforcement. So awareness drives are wonderful, and the Hornbrook went viral. It was published in many, many places, even all over the world. It was entered for various contests. But we need action because while awareness is great, it doesn't target everyone when Mumbai honks 18 million times a day. So we need awareness. And this, I was likening it with this poster to smoking because noise is like secondhand smoke where you're exposed to it, whether you like it or not. It's injurious to health. When I first started and the very first conference we had with the police, they said to me, you're wasting our time because we have other things to do and people should self regulate. In just last month, the Mumbai police came up with this video. There's the logos of the police on it. And they talked for the very first time after so many years, nearly 2 decades, of punishment, the punishing signal. And this is what they said.
We, the Mumbai police, were itching to do something about this. One day, we connected decibel meters to a few signal poles around the city. If the decibel level went over 85 dB, the signal would reset and stay red for longer. आता बसा बोंबलत.
So while that's a little bit idealistic, because in one day I doubt that the traffic will improve like this, and also there are um, many ways of going about enforcement. This is a wonderful awareness video. It's gone viral. It has millions of views. It's been uh, it's been featured in television channels all over the world. Newsprint, more than 700 reports all over the world. Again, I've participated in some of them. BBC World, NPR, you name them, they've all carried it. But the primary role of the police as law enforcers is to impose fines and penalties. I know that the very first time someone stopped me from using a mobile phone while I was driving, and I never did it again. And this has been proven, it's worked, it has the force of law behind it. It's worked for drunk driving campaigns, for helmets, for seatbelts, all kinds of things. And I, for one, certainly intend to push the police to take up awareness campaigns like this more and more. I would love to partner with them, but I would also like to make sure that they take up enforcement campaigns which make sure that the law is enforced. And I think this really is the way it goes. Resilience, that you face successes, you face failures, you keep adapting, you don't know what's going to happen next, but you keep trying. One day from telling you you're talking nonsense, they actually tell you that they are itching to do something about it. um, this is, I mean, this is just last a couple of weeks ago at Sustainable Fashion Day at a fashion show in Mumbai. And here's what I want to say, that from a position of being so depressed that I was unable to work at all, to having people invite me to walk the ramp, to talk about environment, my decibel meter is in my hand. I said that if I'm walking the ramp, it's not a, it, sustainability, beauty is in the way you live every day. And being environmentally friendly adds beauty to life. Sustainability extends from grassroots traditional arts, crafts, and handlooms to national and international policies on circular economy, sustainability, and everything in between. Holding my decibel meter in my hand, I was honored to walk the ramp on Sustainable Fashion Day, a different and softer side of women in sustainability and environmental activism. So it's not that we are a breed apart, that you go there and you fight with people and you yell and scream. No, it's not like that. It's about persuasion. It's about you young people who are going to take up these issues. We are leaving a world to you to inherit, and these issues are going to matter to you. They are in your everyday life. They're in the clothes you wear. They're in the way you live. and they add beauty to your life. They don't detract from your life. They're not telling you, don't do this, don't do that. No, they add passion, they add courage, they add meaning to your life. And life is about meaning, not about just following a beaten path and having, um, just everything that everyone tells you you should have. That will never keep you happy. It's about having meaning. And here is what brings meaning to me. I was fortunate to meet the Dalai Lama. He held my hand for 5 minutes on stage. I was so honored, I was so thrilled, and I knew that this has been worth it for me. So I encourage all of you to take it positively. Environment is about your life, about yourself. Please do what you can. People who contribute, don't contribute just by giving money to causes. You contribute by the way you live your life every day, by the work that you do, by contributing to causes yourself through others, by like all the advertising campaigns being done free, all the lawyering being done free, all the people of Mumbai who stood up, made a complaint, made a phone call, forced the police to come to a point where they say they are itching to take action against noise. I'm so pleased, and I encourage all of you to look at life in that way. Don't give up, never give up. Thank you.